had similar dreams where I've woke up and I felt the same pain that I did in the dream in the same spot that I. So, like, this dream is going to make no sense, but it's one of the most vivid dreams because I woke up with such the worst pain in my liver, the worst pain I've ever had waking up from a dream. There was a werewolf, a vampire, and a mummy. And they were all vying to get me because they wanted to take my energy. All of them. And eventually, I don't want to get too into details of it because I'm not trying to scare people about the whole OBE experience and stuff. But it got to a point where the werewolf was like, all right, fuck it, and took a sword out and chopped me in half.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Awaken to Joy. I'm Shem.
I am Omondi.
And welcome. If it's your first time, nice to have you. And if it's not, then welcome back. So today we are talking to a lovely community member and a content creator, and that is John, just another avatar. How are you? Hiya.
I'm fantastic.
Hi, John.
How are you guys?
We are fine. Would you like to introduce yourself to everyone?
So I'm John DeLong, but most people know me as just another avatar, 2698. Again, that number has no like numerologic significance or anything. It's just my birthday. Yeah, I prefer going by just another avatar because what I have to talk about, everybody can do. Everybody has access to. And yeah, I just want everybody to feel like, yeah.
Okay, cool.
You got it. You got it
too. Okay, so we have so much to actually get into. Let's start off with who John was when he was just a little younger. What is your introduction into all that you discuss on your channel and what sparked your interest into your journey into yourself?
So, John DeLong is an OBE experiencer. Unfortunately, I had all of my experiences around the same time. And like most people who have them, they don't really know what's going on or how to explain the feelings that they're going through. And so, unfortunately, I cut that off from myself. But I'm now coming back into the frequencies that allowed me to have these experiences in the first place. And I'm kind of trying to just share how I'm coming to that, what my experience is like, what I'm changing, just anything and everything that just allows me to be back in that heart space. And really, the other thing too is I used to tell myself all the time when I was little that those experiences were scary and they were something to be feared. But now looking back, they actually could have been the most neutral experiences I ever had. And how other people were trying to explain what they were was what influenced what they ended up meaning to me at the time. Yeah.
Other people's opinions again, isn't it?
Right.
Other people's narratives. I can really relate to that. Is having out-of-body experiences, is it something that you learnt to do when you were older, or is it something that has been happening since childhood? How was that for you?
I recently joined Darius J. Wright's community, the Module 1 and Module 2, and literally the process of that he uses for coming out of the body. I was literally doing that in my bed at 2 years old, step by step. And I didn't even know what I was doing. I just did it. So I don't know if I can say they just happened, but I was essentially having controlled OBEs between the ages of about a year and 8 months to about 4 years old. That's about the time frame that I give myself for these OBEs.
So you are one of these children with a great memory, because that is really, really young. So can you tell us about one of the first memory that you still recall today, and you know, by these experiences you had, how was it? And did you have sleep paralysis, or did you just exit the body? Was it from a dream state? What was it exactly like for you?
So I've never experienced sleep paralysis in the sense that I'm unable to move. I can't do anything. This is that process of coming out for me was never sleep paralysis. Essentially, what I'd do is I'd lay down. I would lay on my back. I would actually cover my entire, like even my head and face with the blanket. And I'd stick my hands by my side and I'd do like a military pose in the bed. And I would just close my eyes and I would let the color come into my vision until it completely filled the entire space. And then it was like I'd be in the space. I could either go have my dream if I wanted to, or I could come out and kind of explore a little bit. And the 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 crazy thing is, when I came out, I never left my room. Um, and again, this is where I was talking about how, what other people have to say were kind of influencing the experience, because, parents, they don't want you to leave your room when you're that age. They don't want you getting into something that you're not supposed to. They don't want you getting hurt. You get the whole rundown. But yeah, I would come out it would be my bedroom. It wasn't like some people talk about how when they come out in the space, it looks different. It really didn't look all that different. But the way that I explained that I knew I was out was my radio at the time. It was both a radio and a CD player. It didn't even have a digital clock on it, but when I would look at it, it had an analog clock in the center, and that's where I was like, "That's not my radio." Okay, we're out.
Did you have a notion at the time that you were actually exiting your body, or was it more of an experience where you didn't really realize, but you knew something was different? And do you have any recall, or what was really different for you and how it felt like?
At the time, I had no idea. It felt like I was just getting up out of bed. It literally just felt like I pulled the blanket off my face and I'm up and ready to go. Ready to do whatever mom and dad told me not to do. And the reason why I was never able to leave my room is because I just had this aching feeling that I wasn't supposed to be there. Like there. I've kind of narrowed it down to, it wasn't even I'm not allowed to be up at night. My soul felt like I'm not supposed to be here. There's something weird about here and what's going on right now. So I'd get up and, I'd walk around my room, but then I'd go to my door and I would not be in the barrier. I'd be at the edge of the door and I could not move past it. Like I couldn't put my hands through the door. And it's funny because the door, sometimes it'd even be open for me already. I wouldn't have to open it.
Do you think somehow that was just you trying not to get into trouble, like on some level, just like knowing on a soul level, no, we're not going to venture downstairs into all of those places that...
Well, so the last time we talked about it, yes, I kind of was putting it on the experience that I was kind of giving myself with my parents' explanation for, no, you need to be in bed. But I've kind of, after doing I did like this memory regression a while back to try to, re-go over a bunch of stuff. And now I do it to myself where I just go back over what I was feeling because I'm trying so hard to recreate that head and heart space that I had then. And I can actually say that I think it's more than just my parents telling me not to get out of bed. Like there were things that were going on, and this includes the beings that I was seeing too. there was something there that felt like I had been in this place before and I shouldn't be there. And I don't know where that came from. I don't know if that's something that maybe in a previous life there were some leftover feelings that just kind of, came back with me, or what that was. But there was just this aching feeling that there's something odd about what's going on here. Why I'm not allowed to leave my room. Why I'm in this place now.
So okay, we'll get into the beings in a minute. My question originally was actually to verify with you if there's a sort of like a marker event that happened when you were out of your body. Because I understand, like, for a lot of us, we had these experiences and we say, oh, I was dreaming, or this was just regular, it was normal. But the fact that now, as an adult, you're looking back and you are able to say, that was an OBE, there must be some things that you find out was strange, beside just not being able to leave the door, to leave your dimensional space. Was it like something that felt like, I don't know, maybe not as the reality as you know it? Was it something particular?
I felt trapped. The idea that I couldn't go beyond the bound of my door. There's not like one event that led me to not wanting to do it anymore. There's not one singular thing. It's more of like, as I got older and started understanding more of, the dialogue that my parents were having around religion and things like that, it's like I put it to the wayside and I stopped visiting it. But in those moments, even when I like, whether it was a being or whether it was something that happened, I've never had anything happen to me that was so like drastically crazy or scary that I felt like I couldn't do that. I just felt trapped. That was the only feeling that I got when I finally came out and I was in my room, because I couldn't leave my room.
Okay.
I couldn't even go out the window.
Okay. Did you try to open the door even?
Sometimes the door was already open. I'd be like, oh, can I leave? And I'd go to put my hands there and I couldn't get past it.
Okay. Well, that will do it. I think that you must have asked yourself for a long time then, why was that taking place?
Yeah.
And what was happening? Like a force field, it seems, that was stopping you going on the other side of the door, isn't it?
Right.
Understood.
I understand how you explain it. It is very, these are the moments sometimes that can be challenging, because you're trying to forget about it, but it keep on coming back, isn't it? And then you have to get an answer for it.
That why.
Yeah.
Now, there were also times too where I wouldn't leave my body, but I'd be sleepwalking, and it was like I was half in, half out, and that was where I would see the beings. So when I was completely out, and I'd look back and I'd see the black mass in the bed that I couldn't recognize. Who is in my bed? I was completely out, and I wouldn't see anything other than just my room. But when I was sleepwalking, and because I called it sleepwalking because it was like I was kind of still in my little dreamy. The house would look nothing like it was supposed to, and I'd try to go to use the restroom, and I'd just encounter things that like that was when I would see all the scary stuff.
So let me get this right, and I was going to say, there it is. So you look back in your bed, right? That's what you're saying basically, and you saw this mass here laying down. Did you recognize yourself? What was it exactly? I always thought it was odd. It didn't look like a person. It just was this like black, flowy. If you've ever watched any of like the Marvel films, there's a Thor movie where the elves they have this like
weapon, but it's not like a technology that we would think of, right? It's like a flowing mass of like etheric energy type. That's what it looked like. It had no form. It had no shape. I was like, what is this?
Actually got me
exactly what
thinking
film you're talking
about the ferrofluid. I don't know if you heard
Yeah.
about this. And then it's like very...
But not as like sharp. It was more, it flowed more.
flowed more, yeah.
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 Like a smoke type of
Wave.
flow. And
Yeah, but like
yeah.
it was kind of metallic too. I don't know how to really describe, because it doesn't look like anything that I can compare it to.
So when you were out and you had the instances where you did see beings, what type of beings were they? What type of beings were they? How did they appear to you as Little John?
So we have Shrek Daddy. And that one, I know now, that was definitely a thought form. And I know that because of how it took the form of things that I was familiar with. And again, it was scary to me because I didn't understand what was going on at the time. But it never did anything that was inherently scary. You know, I to this day, I still get scared when I see like unnatural movement or someone making noises that I haven't heard before. Those are the kinds of things that scare me. I don't get scared at heights. I don't get scared of the bottom of the ocean. I get scared of the stuff that doesn't make sense. You know what I mean?
It's not in the database already. You're like, what was that? I understand.
Like if I'm just standing here and all of a sudden I hear,
you're going to be like,
a jump scare or like just a noise that doesn't make any sense. Like that's the stuff that scares me. I've never been scared of anything that makes sense.
That's the blueprint how to prank John.
horrible prank.
I know.
So as you got older, what was your introduction back into investigating all of this and getting to the bottom of it? When did you feel ready to like revisit all of this?
Around the time that I was like, so from probably, I want to say the age of like 5 up until 18, you know, I had my dreams here and there, but like I said, I tried stopping, trying to look for those experiences, and I'd cut it off. When I was finally able to kind of discover myself as a young adult, and I started messing around with psychedelics, and I started understanding the dynamics of like how relationships work and stuff, I started realizing stuff about myself that had carried over from those experiences. And that's when I started kind of questioning, like, what did it all mean?
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah, it makes complete sense. Were your family religious? Was it from a religious standpoint where you kind of ventured in? Because I know that a lot of people go through this transition where they're like, okay, religion doesn't work, but it serves its purpose, you know?
I wasn't a rule breaker in high school or middle school or even elementary school. I stayed in line. I played my video games when I came home, and the religion aspect didn't play a role. I know for sure it didn't play a role in anything that I was experiencing when I was experiencing it. As soon as I was kind of ready to start cutting it off, that was when, you know, we started praying at night, started going to church. It was like they realized that they needed to start getting back into the swing of their religious habits and stuff. And it just happened to start at the end of all that.
Understand. When you started looking back into your dreams or OBE states or anything like that, when was that for you? Was that after a turning point? A lot of people go through what they refer to as the dark night of the soul, or was it more, I'm investigating, I've gone down this rabbit hole and this is what I've landed on?
I went head first down a rabbit hole and never went back. I said, Alice, hey, wait up. I'm gonna come with you for a second.
So
And you've never turned
I got in.
back.
I did psychedelics. I got into conspiracy theories. I questioned all the religion that I had gone through. I just had all these questions that just had to be answered, and I was finally in a place where I didn't have to worry about anybody contradicting that. I should go for it.
Yeah, that helps. When
Yeah.
you're surrounded by people who are gonna butt up against you, even asking a question, you're not gonna answer all the questions you want.
Yeah.
Well, and it's not
Definitely,
even that they wouldn't. It's like they wouldn't have the answers, and they wouldn't explore some of these things any further. I don't have the
Yeah.
answer, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I go look at? No, you're not allowed to.
Basically. So now you're on the other side of that. Now you've had some OBE experiences and dream experiences, and you're just back. You're back in your knowing now, and you're in the swing of things. How has life changed for you on the other side of that? On the other side of answering all those questions?
Well, my explanation for dreams, OBEs, and astral projection has changed to they're all the same fucking thing. It's all the same, whether or not we want to admit it or not, or whether we have this idea of what an out of body is supposed to look like. When you're in your dream space, you're in your dream space. It doesn't necessarily mean you're not out of your body, And so that mindset rewrote everything that I had gone through. Because now, I mean, I haven't had an OBE traditionally where, I was out of my body in my room, kind of witnessing events unfold in real time. I was witnessing events unfolding in my heart and headspace, and that's the difference. Is like I now all these dreams that I've written about, because I have journals everywhere about everything that I remember every dream that I have the details of, I've written down somewhere, and I can recall the memory of it to a T, which is insane. 5 years ago.
Basically, yeah.
Well, you have a good memory. I mean, you've been remembering, instances since you're 2 years old. That's actually really, really good. It's actually
your memory calls on point.
Like I like to
something else up as well.
Sure.
And I apologize for interrupting you.
No, that's fine.
The memory thing. I now know that I actually had experiences in the void as a child. I used to tell my mom that I remember being born. I didn't remember like coming out at the hospital. No, I remember my soul coming to fruition as a 2-year-old.
That's a big thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I could never explain it, but I can now. Sorry, hold on.
That's a big thing. I think in itself, when we ask for these things to come through, when we ask for our memories, and then we get those profound ones back that confirm for us that we're just more than what we've been told we are, it always hits different. So I understand.
Yeah.
I really do.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there. I just when you were talking about, you remember all these things. It's like, it's frustrating because I have in waking life the memory of a goldfish. Like I can't remember some of the simplest things, where I put my stuff, what date was I supposed to go to court for. But I remember all of these spiritual things that happened to me as a kid. They've never gone away.
Yeah, you know why, John. It's a very simple explanation to that. It's when you fully tapped in, you spend a lot of time, energy on the other side. You're already full, it's full of these memories. When you then, even on the soul level, experience reality here, which is, let's face it, it's a holographic reality where you well and know it's a game. You well and know it's an experience you're having. you don't put the same importance. For you, it's comes secondary. So that is why it's like that. So you're not going to make the same, it's not even a question of effort. You're not going to put the same importance on it. That is why you more likely to not remember where your keys are, as opposed to not remember on the other side. Simply because you that tapped in, and it's a good thing. I mean, I guess part of your mastery will probably be about you gain more of your soul in your human vessel, which will help for that anyway, and your experience here as you resolve all of these conflict and stuff like that. But it's a very busy plane here anyway, so the mind tend to fill up your ability, your capacity with some shit, and and it makes it ever so more difficult. I mean, we are here trying to remember how many passwords we have and all of that useless stuff. Your soul knows, like, this is a game. I don't got time to remember all of these things, but I've got time to remember my experiences on the other side. So it's a lovely thing. It's actually better that way than the other way around, because the other way around, they want to have dream recalls and they are here struggling with it.
Yeah.
So you don't have that problem.
It's not about doing, it's just about being. The more you try to focus on doing something to be like, conscious or lucid or whatever you want to call it, I feel like the harder it becomes. You kind of just have to let it happen. Most of the dream recall is by random happenstance. I've never, and when I was little, I was able to somehow like consciously call into that, and I don't know how the heck that happened as a little kid. But with all the, having to undo all the programming and everything now, where I'm at now, where most people who haven't had an experience, the mindset is you can't force this thing to happen. Especially in your dreams, that's the harder one. If you want to have an experience, you're going to have an easier time actually trying to just make yourself come out through some kind of like Darius's ADA method or something. But dream recall and being lucid in your dreams, that's one where you kind of have to just learn when you're in that space to call more consciousness to yourself. Yeah, that's the only advice I could give is like don't try to force that kind of stuff, because it'll make it way harder.
So do you think that in a way what you meant to see, what you meant to remember, you will remember, and part of forcing the way, it's kind of going against what the will of the soul is?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
You're in full trust of, like, your soul knows better anyway, and basically you don't have to worry about not remembering because you were not meant to be. Okay.
Right.
Yeah, that I can see how this can help and let someone, allow someone to let go. Yeah, definitely. I found that out for myself as well, that should be a lot more easy with myself, and if I don't remember, to take also a bit of responsibility in the fact that perhaps my vibration is too low. I vibrate too low at the moment, so perhaps it's for me to check myself more, enjoying myself here a little bit more, ground myself a little more. That was my personal experience. So that's why it was interesting to ask you how you view it. But I've realized it's not so far from how I feel as well and what I've experienced as well. So, yeah.
My mindset about it has completely changed too. Just like I've gone essentially, and I was thinking about this today too before I even got on the phone call. I essentially went from I don't want to have this experience anymore to I really have to have this experience. It's going to happen and no one is going to stop me. To it doesn't matter if it happens or not. What I'm remember is what I'm meant to remember. It'll happen when it needs to, exactly how it needs to, at the time that it needs to.
Yeah, that's lovely. That's beautiful.
Way more compassionate and easy. isn't it? With
I was so
yourself.
hard on myself for not being able to. After I was a kid, like I was hard on not being able to reach that heart space again. And I didn't need to be. There was no reason to, like, that happened for a reason.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then I'd like to ask you about, because you did mention that whether you have a dream, lucid dream, or OBE, or I guess astral travel, whatever you want to call it, it's kind of like all the same. You mentioned that for you, as far as you are concerned, whether you want to admit it or not, you're out of your body. Do you think you can have the same validity through your dream state?
Repeat the question again. I'm sorry.
Do you think that these answers we are looking for often when we want to have an OBE and come out of our body, be in full awareness, where it seems that if you're fully aware, you can have all these answers you're looking for, you're searching for. Do you think that if someone takes their dream seriously as being important and has relevant in their life, they can have the same level of answers?
They can. There's been a lot of dreams where at the time made no sense at all. Like, I had a dream that I was a part of this family, and they were all, I don't know if you've ever heard of the book Animorphs.
No, I didn't.
Or if you know, what's it called in Harry Potter when you can transform into animals?
Oh, I know what you're talking about. You're talking about Vessin. I don't know what the other name is, but it's like in the Grimm, they're called Vessin.
Yeah, in the dream.
I know they're like shapeshifters, but they do into animals.
I had this dream, where I was a part of this like group, and the animal that we chose to turn into was the platypus. Of all the animals you could have picked, why the platypus?
Hi, and now for a very important announcement. We've noticed that half of you are not subscribed, but you are watching. And we know it's not deliberate. I do it all the time. So check if you're subscribed, and if not, press the subscribe button, then the notification bell. And that way, when we go live on Sundays, or we do a catch us if you can, you won't miss it.
If you love to support our channel, you can go on our Ko-Fi where you can buy us a cup of coffee. You also can join our Discord, and you also can become a Sovereign Soul platform member. Thank you, and back to the show.
What did you want to do? What did you want to be?
No.
You were thinking not a wolf or...
Here's the thing, the platypus, like, it makes sense in the dream. I'm still trying to understand what it meant for me. But, it just like, it's one of those things where I dreamt that I was a part of a group that turned into platypuses, and there was some drama in the group, and we had to kill off one of the members because they sold our secret, and it made no sense. It was literally just a dream.
Yeah.
And I've had dreams like that where they don't make sense now. But then I've also had dreams where I've recalled future events, and they don't even have to be, it's not like some big event either. Like, I was literally driving down the highway for work, and I literally was like, I literally had a dream about this the other night.
Déjà vu.
Never been here, never been to this stop before, never been to this area of town. I had a dream about it.
Well, what it is, I ask you this question because you're someone who fundamentally believes that, whether you have a dream or an OBE, you're out of your body, period, which means that now you have access to the similar informations. The only difference will be your level of awareness, and which will then lead you to be able to recall more or not. But then if you're in the belief that dreams are completely different and they're not as valid, then you stand less chances as you manifest your reality to have these vital informations. Hence why validating your dreams as such does help a lot.
So yeah, that's kind of what I was trying to articulate there with the whole, like, doesn't make sense now. It's going to at some point. All my dreams at some point have lined up with something that is going to happen in real life.
Well, exactly. So we're here to also not necessarily compare experiences as such, but to definitely put one experiences next to each other
Yes.
to be able to see the common threads here. While I found out a level of discernment is extremely important. However, I found out discernment for me, the practice of it doesn't start in dream state. It's already too late. It's like if you're in a competition and you want to train at that moment, it is too late.
That makes so much sense and is so practical. I wish I heard that sooner.
So I've realized my discernment is to be practiced right now. And it's why this reality we're experiencing, holographic reality, is extremely important. That's why I practice my discernment, my intuition, because I found out that whatever you are experiencing here, you project in the dream.
I've had similar dreams where I've woke up and I felt the same pain that I did in the dream in the same spot that I. So, like, this dream is going to make no sense, but it's one of the most vivid dreams because I woke up with such the worst pain in my liver, the worst pain I've ever had waking up from a dream. There was a werewolf, a vampire, and a mummy. And they were all vying to get me because they wanted to take my energy. All of them. And eventually, I don't want to get too into details of it because I'm not trying to scare people about the whole OBE experience and stuff. But it got to a point where the werewolf was like, all right, fuck it, and took a sword out and chopped me in half. And I woke up, oh my God, what is that? Oh my God. I literally, for about 10 minutes, I was like stuck in like a fetal position because I was in so much pain. And I've never experienced anything like that since that dream. I don't know. The only other one that I've had is I just woke up and I was flying. I was just flying. I didn't start somewhere. It just was me flying. And I was like, oh, I'm so free. And I put my hands up to start flying faster. And I hit something. And I woke up and I had like bruising here and my neck was like all twisted up when I woke up. Like there's some physical stuff that comes from some of these things.
Yep.
I can confirm that, and I can even share one thing that's be interesting to share as well. And the reason why I say start here is because I remember there was a part of my life where I wanted to know how bad some people were. I mean bad, I mean the malintention and how far it went. And I was going through at a time where a lot of things were really, really challenging. Family members and certain people that I need to stay away from. And basically I was taken to a place where I was sitting down in a house. And in that place, there was like a bay windows and these beings where it's like, you know, when someone give you the side eyes and watching you like frowning and everything, that's what they were doing. And I was saying down there, I was kind of be like, you can't get me because I was inside and the door were locked and they couldn't. However, they started whispering. And there was a vent on the wall and the whisper went through the vent. And I felt this whisper going through the vent and coming back and choking my throat. And I couldn't breathe. And all of a sudden, the things like there's sort of divine intervention that came in, and I was brought back. When I did the biggest gaps, like I was just realized like, oh, this is real. But I've asked to see, and they let me see, and I was taken so close to it, and I was like, this is real. This is real, and this is very physical. However, I was already in the awareness here in this reality because I asked for it specifically and I was given it. Like I was given the experience. That's when I was like, okay, this is physical. This is
so
real.
You said you can't get me. And this thing projected its voice into you from the other side of the wall.
For what I perceive an air vent. That is an air vent. And through the air vent went through and started again at me. So it's all basically there's a physicality, and like I say, the discernment start here, but also on the other side. And this experience, you're telling me like when you're coming back, you're telling us like you had bruise and that. Yeah, of course.
But what I've always said to Omondi about that is, because thoughts are things,
Yeah.
when you are in the field of people who may have malintention for you or do not have certain thoughts that are aligned with your well-being, these are the things that are formed. Like, it's nothing mystical and magical. It's just
it is what it is.
the energy of that. And that's where your discernment comes in. And that's where I always talk to people about clearing their field. And while there is the New Age love and light thing, which I don't shit on in any way, because so much of the teachings that I needed at the beginning of my journey are from there. But I've just had to let some of them loose because of that. Because now I'm more in the knowing that one comes with the other, dark comes with the light, positive comes with the negative. We are playing the game of duality. So
Well, we're living in duality. We're not just playing it. We're living. This is the only place you get to experience this.
Right.
Yeah.
So when we experience these things and we say, "Oh, but no, it's all," I'm like,
Well, this is interesting.
Because that's not what we're here. That's not what we're here for. And you can choose like positive stuff. You can choose that, yes, but that doesn't mean that ceases to exist. Right.
Well, I was going to say that's interesting what you're mentioning, and it comes back as well to your point, John, about how the thought form that you have at the time, or the ideas. I don't even like to use necessarily thought form. I think it's also something that's been used a lot, but I'll say it's the idea, the belief, the doubt. Doubt is the opposite, literally, of beliefs. Because in these instances, I was doubting that this was taking place, and should I really be courageous to, like, do I need to step into my courage and get rid of these people that don't mean me well? Would they do that? I was still in the doubt that someone would take the energy to just do these things. I wanted that. So I needed this confirmation, but by needing these confirmations, I feel like I was in a position, I was operating from a place of need. So these experiences become real because it's you're not from a place of abundance, and you want to always, you're doubtful about your power and the power we all hold inside. So it goes both ways. As much as you can manifest.
Yeah, but I wouldn't say you were doubtful about your power. You were just doubtful about how far people's intentions could go to be that.
No, what I'm explaining, it's the desire you have, or you think you have, the need you have, manifests something. That's how powerful you have.
Yeah,
you will be taken. But
you just wanted to know if you were going to make a decision here that was going to be either too extreme for what it was, or if really it was what you felt it was.
Yes, but that's why I'm going.
Go.
That is why. At the time, I wasn't using my discernment. I didn't need to go through that experience. I get you. So I needed to see the power I hold, but also the power other people hold, or you can let them hold against you if you so wish to. If you think that powerful, but guess what? So in the doubt of them really going through it, you only want verification, because a part of you know that this might be true. And as you hold that little doubt and you leave that little space, it's just enough for you to experience sometimes things you don't really want to experience. However, it serves its purpose. I've gone through my journey when it comes to that. But when you explain these stories that you've experienced about being a part of this group and these people and stuff like that, there's also, depending on where you're at, if you wanted to experience one of your lifetime and want to know more about the previous lifetime you have or you had, they come sometime during dream state. And they could be, depending where you're at. That's why I say discernment here is important right now, because this will impact your experiences on the other side, and to know if they're genuine or not, regardless if you're in dream state.
You are right, though, too. Go ahead.
I
Go
was
ahead.
gonna ask you about between the platypus situation, between the vampiric situation. Was that a reflection of what was going on in your field, or was that just like a recall? Because I know so much of these dreams are reflections of what's going on in your field, or ways to tell you about what's going on in your field.
So we're gonna get really deep here pretty soon here, because this will also lead into the succubus stuff that I was talking about in the notes. But the whole vampire thing, I have been under the impression that a lot of the reason why I had such a hard time connecting with people is because my need for attention turned my energy into like a vampiric energy where I was, as the minute that I got attention from somebody, I sucked onto them like a leech and I couldn't leave. And I now understand why so many people left, why so many friendships ended, why people moved on, and I just never moved on. And it does translate into some of these dreams that I was having, like where I'm just unable to move on from this weird energy that's just been around. I don't know what it is. And to your point, like you were saying how you don't like the term thought form, right? There's something to that about how, like, okay, for Shrek, let's Shrek Daddy, for example, like whether or not it was an actual being, there was an energy there. And it was my thoughts and feelings at the time that influenced how it appeared to me at the time. So, like, can I say for sure that that was just a thought? No. I mean, it could have actually been some kind of a being that didn't, it didn't operate within the bounds of what we call a being, right? Kind of like how the all is, it's a source, it's an energy, but it also has feeling and it wants to experience itself. But the idea that, these energies, if you hold on to them long enough, they'll stick around and they'll start attaching to some real life stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just energy. I mean, imagine it was like a big old ball of joy. We wouldn't even be having this conversation so carefully, but we're judging it because it's vampiric, isn't it?
They're creations.
But they're still
They're
just
creations.
that.
They
They're
literally
creations and they're things that we fed. And it's that little pet puppy that you thought was going to stay £4, and now it's some 400-pound puppy and the big dog in the back, and you're like, Jesus, where did you come from? And it's that type of thing.
that's what it is.
You kept on feeding it, and that's that. It's like,
Don't Feed the Monster on Tuesday. That's a good book that I need to get back.
I didn't even know that was a book. That sounds like a really dope
I need to get back. I need to get that for my kids. Yeah, it's called Don't Feed the Monster on Tuesday. Like, if you have a negative feeling, the more you delve into that feeling or allow it to take over, your conversations and what you're doing, eventually it, instead of being just this little tidy green thing on your shoulder you're here talking in your ear, it's a looming energy that takes over everything in your life.
Yeah.
Like, there's literally there's a kid book about it called Don't Feed the Monster on Tuesday.
I didn't even know. That's a brilliant title. I'm going to look into that.
That's where I learned that.
Yeah.
Wow, that's really lovely.
I was probably like 8 or 9 years old, and I never thought about it for the longest time, but I've been recently like recalling some of that, like those books. There's a whole series of books.
You're really seeing it with new eyes.
I think
that's really lovely.
I think it's not necessarily that I don't like. I think thought form or a real thing. It's not that, but there is a lot of their creations. If you stick to the fact that they're creations, whether they're from you or other people, There are questions. They are real for some people. Some people will say, well, you're doing that. It's a thought form. There's a bit of a, it's not bypassing people's experiences because even though they may have created this thought form, and like I say, created, which therefore is a creation, it's going to have its level of realness to it. So, and sometimes we have also creations that are made collectively. That's why you have to be aware of who you're sharing your field with. Right. Like you say, you're clearing your field. All of these things, so it's like a mishmash of everything, really. Creations takes away the blame part of it, I've noticed, and allows people to probably tune in more on what these things is about, and how you can perhaps practice energy recalls or reclamations and stuff like that can truly help, because we're here to help each other at the end of the day. We're not here to just say, well, that's your thing and you need to get over it, because it's not always that simple.
You do have to starve these things out sometimes.
So you do, but
you just stop feeding the fire.
Yeah,
and some of that can come over from generational too, though.
I was just about to ask you that, how do you feel about that generationally? And I say that I do see how epigenetic works. I do see how that works. But then sometimes when you're say you're in a household and that household has a certain amount of belief about a narrative on something, because of your collective belief, then you feed this new creation. How do you see it?
I would say it's genetic. I wouldn't even say it's genetic. It's the fact that, think about the idea of how we come here. We come through water, we exit through water, but we're coming around the same people. It's just in a different body. We've come into this place with the intention of learning something, and a lot of times we're coming in with other beings. And if that other being hasn't learned some of these lessons, and you're not learning some of these lessons, those things can kind of, they can mix around and spread out, touch other people, touch other souls that then come back and bring that with them too. And again, I don't think it's genetic. I'm sure it could be connected in some way to like an epigenetic type ancestral thing, but it's more about the idea of souls coming in together and sharing a collective experience.
What you've just explained is the metaphysical explanation to what somebody who would want the science of epigenetics. So epigenetics would be the science answer, and what you've just explained is the metaphysical answer. But I'm saying this for people who are still I need the science behind this, but that's for the bridging of the language of it, and it does come down to that. You see what I'm saying? You do come in with these people, you do experience these things. That was last time's lesson. I didn't get that one. I'm coming back to learn it again. So are you. Are we going to do it? Will we, won't we? Is this, are we going to press repeat on this lesson, or are we going to skip a year? What are we doing?
To your point, actually, it's such an interesting conversation. John is an interesting conversation, and you always have interesting questions. You always get us into these, this space, this mental space. It's lovely.
I've been here for so long. It's so cool to have someone that's actually interested and wanted to hear about it.
We're in Wonderland with you, John. That's what's going on.
Why? I was to talk about that. I was going to talk about it real quick. About a lot of people aren't referring to God necessarily. They're saying source. Okay. Now a lot of people aren't saying angels. They're saying ETs. Or beings, yeah. They understand the word angels, God, and what we mean by that. But I think we gain into a point where we gain into the mechanics of it, how it really work, what is going on. And I know what Shem's mentioning, epigenetics, because now and only now, even science is catching up with that. We know if you have a type of thought pattern or you feel a certain way about yourself, it directly changes you on a cellular level. There is definitely a restructuring of your DNA that's taking place, and it affects you. So whatever you believe about yourself, then you're going to project it on your body physically, and it
Well, even like
matches.
the synapses in your brain, like
Why
that
exactly?
you can study that in a lab.
Absolutely. So then, therefore, and we know there's different brain waves you have, and depending on how you can actually measure your frequency and how you vibrate, and what's going on with yourself. So you can actually measure that. But what it is you know that, okay, what's the universal law? Consciousness dictates the universe. Therefore, the reality we are experiencing as individual, but also collectively, is generated by all this thought that's floating around and these feelings and all of that. We know that for facts. I mean, everyone in the community, I don't know one person that will deny that. And if they do, they do. It don't matter. But what I'm saying is, so if it does affect your body physically on a physical level, meaning in this reality, because your body is part of all you see around you. As much as we think we're so attached to it, it will stay here once you leave, period. So epigenetic makes sense, and some things that mechanically, some people, a few of us, been knowing, use it in their advantages, and some people not knowing that they actually kind of suffer the consequence of that, of not even being aware of that, because it's been used partially against them as well. Now, it's still free will, because the soul before you came here, except to have this experience, whether it's to lead to your awakening or not, depends. There's different, I guess, reason why you accepting maybe not to awake right now. However, that is why when you have children and you've been changed on a DNA level, you will not produce the same children that you would. So that's why being, and you can see in some mothers, you did that as well, Shem, when they're pregnant, they want to make sure they're checking their state. What state of mind am I? How do I feel? Because that will literally influence that. That will influence how your child's going to be, even on a physical level. So, so then when you come
think that's how
into
premature births happen? They're like, I want to get out of here.
on a soul level, when you decide you're going to jump into that body from this lineage that is going to produce with these parents, you're in full awareness what that's going to be. That is why I think a lot of us also are jumping specifically in some timelines to break down this looping, this karmic looping, to stop this happening. That's what stepping into our full power allows so much release that the previous generation may not have been able to do that, to do. Or this is a part of the continuous work that's taking place, whether we like it or not. Okay, now I've decided to come back here with this type of parents. There's a reason for that. And you all know exactly the reason and was excited because specifically if you get to do all the thing you're meant to do here. So, and even if you don't, I'm sure your soul knows it anyway. But there's definitely an influence, and it's definitely, it can affect, on a genetic level.
You say that. It's funny you say that because I have a twin sister.
You're a twin,
and we were adopted. We were adopted together.
Okay.
We have 7 other siblings, and they're all in just different stages of life. They got to actually go through, what was going on with our parents at the time when my mom, was passing away, had the cancer. My dad was mentally sick and not well. Me and my sister didn't have to go through that. And so looking at how their views are significantly different than even me and my sister, even though we came from the same parents. We came from the same place, but just seeing how, because of the energies that they were around, that they got to experience, really shaped a lot of how they think and
what they experience.
There's still a lot of similarity, though, too, to your credit about the epigenetic thing. How there's still all of this energy that we're all trying to overcome. All of us. regardless of what stage of life we're in. We're all in. Go ahead.
And even if you are adopted into a situation, it will have the same effect, because I think that's where we're learning about how the mechanics of all this reality really truly work. Because if your parents that adopt you have a certain train of thought and feelings and stuff like that, and it gets projected on you as a result, you adopt, say, you're going to start thinking the same way, and it will impact your body similarly regardless.
Yeah.
So it's not and you so know when you in say you coming in that lineage and you know what's going on, it's for a good reason. And a lot of us we've got a big role. Mostly it's about, helping remembrance, but it's a real thing, and it doesn't have to be blood related either.
Right. My relationship with food seems to span the entire family, by the way. That's
Your
where
biological or non-biological?
biological. My eating habits, the way weight sits on my body, my digestional tract, all the problems that I've been experiencing. I call my sister up, who's probably 2 or 3 years older than me. Yeah, I was going through that too just a while ago. We don't even live in the same area, and
Yeah.
they're all literally going through that with me at the same time. It's interesting.
Yeah, we're all connected, aren't we?
Yeah.
One way or another, energetically, I guess there's a certain amount of things we signed up for. You said something really interesting about like the different type of births.
Yeah. A baby realizing that they don't necessarily want to stick around too much longer.
Yeah. And them deciding.
Kind of done with this.
Yeah, like them deciding exactly when they're going to be born. Like, we're not going to stick around here, or, oh no, I'm staying in 3 more weeks. There's nothing you can do or throw at me that's going to have me come out.
I like this place right now.
Right.
Nice home.
And I say, you know what? You've got a point there, because I remember the first time I was I went to what's it called again? A midwife. The first time I went to a midwife, she was in there and we were in the class together, and she was calling everybody, all of the pregnant ladies. She was just like, your birth will go well, your birth will go, you're going to have complications, you're going to have premature. And she was calling it. And I was like, okay. She said, I'll be fine. I guess I'll be fine. I was scared, but I was like, I guess I'll be fine.
Yeah.
And we must have come the following week, and the lady that she said was going to have a premature baby was not there. She was literally having her premature baby. And after the class, I was like, how do you know these things? And she was like, the disposition of the mother, and especially if the father comes in as well, the disposition of them, the way they are energetically, always impacts how the baby's going to be. And I was like, is that what you found? She was like, I can call it. And I was like, no, clearly. So yeah, I think energetically there is something there.
You know what, I was just going to say, to your point about epigenetics, when they did the actual test about epigenetics, they didn't necessarily take the rats they took were not, or it was mice or rats, I don't remember. Anyway, they were not from all from the same family, but the effect was unanimous. So they were not necessarily
They
blood
were just
related.
from the same collective.
Collective, yeah.
Okay.
So it wasn't like, oh, you have the same blood, and this. It was nothing
like
to say with
an
that.
energetic field thing.
Yeah. So this is the type of attachment we're talking about.
Well, and the other thing too, though, like the idea that some people kind of forget this now, modern times, with the what's it called, with abortion and stuff like that. The thing is, that's a soul in there, and they're also in on the choice of when they come out or not. They know when they came into this world, when the sperm meets egg, they've done studies where the minute that it touches, there is a bright spark that happens. That we like the there's definitely a choice for the baby as well. Like they're whether or not they want to stick around, whether they want to be in right away. We forget that part of it too. Like they've got a soul with ideas and intentions before they've even been brought into the world. It's going to happen regardless. I'm
Absolutely.
here.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep. I love the way that people still fight about that, but ultimately it's to understand that it's all pre-agreed is where the people find it the hardest as well.
Yeah.
Whether or not it's via natural causes or unnatural causes or interventions or non-interventions.
The soul chose that.
The soul, yeah. And that's
it chose that.
Yeah, and that's what's difficult.
They chose that mom because they knew that she wasn't ready to have a kid, and they wanted to have that experience of being brought in and then taken out so quickly.
And that will probably fire up the comment section at some point. But if they get that, no.
Yeah, no.
People, no, you don't have to be. It's an opinion at the end of the day. It's a perspective on something, and we all have different perspectives. Not that we haven't heard everybody else's already. We just, you see what I mean?